Yeah.
What would you say to a student that feels like they're at a place where their friend group is shifting, changing, rearranging, right? And you don't know where you fit in, and it's so easy to feel like I don't belong.
Yeah, man, that's such another great question, because a lot of times we want so badly to belong. I was so fortunate at a young age to grow up in church and to be involved. Like the day that I could get involved, I got involved as a sixth grader, and I'll never forget that changed my life because it gave me a community to belong to. So I could go into my school and I could go other places, and if I didn't fit in with certain crowds, I knew I had my core of friends that were in the church. So I was really fortunate for that, and I'm thankful to have parents that raised me in church. That was huge for me. But if you're searching for where to belong, your friend groups are changing, I think that's a natural thing. When you begin to follow Jesus, there are some friends that were a part of your past that can't be a part of your future. There are some things and some people that you're going to have to separate from in order to be set apart. And I don't think that that's something to be afraid of. I think that's something to be courageous with in that step. That if you don't separate from some things and from some people, you'll never live the set apart life that God's called you to.
Wow.
And when you live the set apart life, some people think like, oh man, that means I've got to give up. They look at what they have to give up and not what they're going to gain.
Yeah, you gain so much more.
I believe you gain so much more living a life that is just fully, your whole heart just going after Jesus, 110%. You gain so much more from that than anything that this world has to offer. Once you realize that, you're not as concerned about belonging with the people that were part of your past. You're more consumed with your future. Because when I get into the presence of God, I get consumed with my future. He's consumed with my future. He's thinking about my future. The Bible says he knows the thoughts and the plans that he has for me. They're plans for good, not for evil, to give me a hope and a future. That word hope means confident expectation. So I can confidently expect that God has a good future for me. So when I'm in his presence, I start to realize, God, you're thinking about my future. You have it all planned out. You're consumed with my future. So I'm not looking back. I'm going to look forward. And I would encourage you, you become like the 5 people that you surround yourself with the closest. We say it this way at the United, show me your 5 closest friends, and I'll show you your future 5 years from now.
Yeah,
show me your 5 closest friends, because you're going to become like who you're around the most. And so surround yourself with people that are going in the same direction that you want your life to go in. Don't worry about the people that maybe don't fit into where your life is headed. Find people who are maybe even a couple steps ahead of you. Find people that bring you and help you get closer to Jesus. Find people that, man, they make you have even more of a heart for the house. And I'll say this, I'm so fortunate to have grown up in church, because most of my friends back then, I started in junior high. Most of my friends from junior high are still my friends today. Chad, who we have in the studio, Derek, who's the executive pastor at our church, they were my friends in junior high.
Wow.
And they're still some of my best friends today. I think it's amazing when you form godly relationships with people who are going to hold you accountable, who are going to live in genuine community with you, who are going to tell you you're acting like a knucklehead when you're acting like a knucklehead. That's important. And I think as a generation, we love the idea of accountability until it happens.
Yeah.
And I think we have to get comfortable with accountability. And it's funny because sometimes you'll hear like somebody tries to hold you accountable and it's like, well, only God can judge me. Well, you're doing this and I've seen your life and you have this, this, and this. How dare you tell me? Well, it was never about them. Do you want to get better or do you not? And I've been so fortunate to be around friends that have brought the best out of me, that have always challenged me.
And we're to judge the fruit.
Exactly. Exactly. By their fruit, you'll know them.
Yeah.
And so they've encouraged me. I remember when I first felt called to go to Bible school, I had a talk with Chad about the 3 options that I had. And my best friend Chad, who's in the studio today, he basically was like, yeah, I don't see you doing the first one. I don't see you doing the second. That Bible school one, I could see you being a pastor. I could see that. You need friends that are going to help propel you into the calling that God has for you. And if I could just speak to dating for a moment within this, because I think it's so important who you date and when you date. Find your purpose before you date. Know what you're called to do before you date. And don't just date anybody. Date somebody who complements your calling. If you don't know your calling, you're not going to find somebody to complement your calling. So often we date, and if they don't point you more to church, if they don't point you closer in your relationship with God, they shouldn't be somebody that you're dating. I say it this way to our students. If church isn't on their list of priorities, they shouldn't be on your list of options. I truly believe that we have to get really selective in who we date because it can make such a difference in the direction
Yeah.
of our lives. And I think that's huge. So what my encouragement would be is surround yourself with genuine community. Get involved in a group at church. It changed my life.
Yeah.
And, it can sound cliche, but honestly, I believe in it so much. I believe in the local church so much. I believe in small groups so much because my life was changed through it. And you can argue with a lot of things, but you can't argue with somebody's experience. And so I've had an experience in the house of God, surrounding myself with people of God that have propelled me forward, and it's been amazing.
You like your friends were like elevators. They'll take you up,
Exactly.
or they'll take you down.
I love that.
Or you could
Elevators.
say it. You can't get to the wrong places with the right people.
It's great.
And that's good. That's powerful. And so I believe that like in the midst of changing seasons and shifting with your friends, with everything that you just said, you might even feel like, man, okay, that's cool, Pastor Josh, but like what about the current situation? Because I feel like I don't have somebody.
Yeah.
And I encourage you, begin to ask God. Begin to ask God, thank you for bringing the right friends. God, thank you for helping me be the right friend to somebody. And with all of that, was good.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, and just to encourage you, if you are in that place, because I know that can feel like such a lonely place. I believe that God always honors when you do things God's way. You get His results.
Yes.
And when you do things God's way, He always honors that, and He'll honor you with a great group of friends. I truly believe that. And
Look
our
at your
youth
group of
director,
friends.
yeah, my group of friends, our youth director now, his name's Austin. He separated himself from some old friends. And it was amazing to see. I believe that God's blessed him with so many more friends that are so solid,
Yeah.
that are so great, that have surrounded him and are now helping him build the ministry and do what God's called him to do. But the cool thing about it is some of those old friends have started to resurface and start coming to church because they've seen Austin's life just keep elevating up. And they're like, I don't know what it is that you have, but I do know that I need it.
Yeah.
And if I can just encourage you, the thing that feels like a test in your life right now, the thing that feels like a trial, man, I feel so lonely. It can become a testimony in your future to the goodness of God in your life, to where people look at your life and they say, I need what you have. You look happy. You look like you have joy. You look like you have peace, and you look like you're having a good time. And man, I'm going to the same parties and waking up empty on Monday morning. And they need what you have. And so just be aware as a follower of Jesus that we have the answers to the questions people are asking.
Yeah, that's good.
And so I think that's such a huge thing. Seeing Austin's life even, and so many others within our ministry, has just encouraged and reaffirmed me to, God is so faithful, man. He's so faithful to not only bring friends into your right now, but even bring some of the friends into your past back into the house of God because they see His goodness in your life.